Husband of one wife. This is the next one. There's a lot of different philosophies and interpretations of this scripture. In fact, one of my favorite Bible teachers, Charles Stanley, who passed away, was it last year? Charles Stanley? So Charles Stanley, in his denomination, his wife decided that she was done. And they had some conflict, and I'm not going to get into it, but she wound up leaving him. But Charles said, I'll do whatever, whatever I got to do. You want to do counseling? He tried, from at least as the story goes, he tried to restore the marriage, but she was unwilling, and he did what he could do biblically. But they wound up divorcing. She wound up divorcing him. So the commission of his church denomination says, according to 1 Timothy 3:2, you can never remarry. You can remain Pastor Charles Stanley, but you can never remarry. If you remarry, you're in a violation of this verse. And so he remained unmarried and for I don't know how many, couple decades or however long it was. And so at Calvary, we have a little bit different take on that verse. There's people that have been divorced and remarried, and does that disqualify somebody from being in church, a church leader? And I would say it depends. There's a lot of it depends in there. Okay, there's a lot of it depends. But we believe that this scripture was written to a polygamist culture. So, back in this place where Timothy had his church, people are getting saved. A guy gets saved, and he's married to 7 women, and they get saved. And he's all right. Well, I'm a Christian, pastor. What do I do with my 7 wives? He says, well, so here's the thing. It doesn't talk a whole lot about what to do with 7 wives in the Bible, but what it does say is that if you're going to be in church leadership, that this is in order for your life to reflect God's relationship with his bride, which is what a church leader is supposed to do. This is a disqualifier for church leadership. So that's why where we believe that this scripture is referring to. Now, in regards to divorce and remarriage, I'm certain in a room this size, there's some folks that have had to go through a divorce, or hopefully not. It'd be great if it wasn't. But at the same time, there is a way to walk through difficult situations and remain blameless. There is a way to go through that. Now, based on, like I said, there's a lot of it depends based on the circumstances and situations, which we're not going to get into right now. But obviously there are some things that sin that you can commit. That's like, hey, you know what? Maybe church leadership is not for you. The example, your reputation. I love Acts chapter 6 says that go find 7 men of good reputation. If you've done this, and this, and it's public, and it's been in court, and it's been, there's people that can't stand you, and you owe money to people, and this and that. Like, the reputation is actually the disqualifier rather than the married to more than one person. It's the reputation that's this disqualifier. So this one, we believe that, I would say in everything that we do, I would suggest that a leader in the church should look for the way that how does the gospel enter into the situation? If Jesus says, I am he who makes all things new, how does Jesus make all things new in this situation? And that, after a divorce, can be like a long-term thing. It can be a thing where that person would walk through a season of discipleship and accountability with the church, and then slowly re-enter ministry works until the reputation is restored. And we've seen extremes on those, all right? And so I'm not going to get too much into that. It's a complicated one, but we believe that, number one, when when a lot of times when the Bible lists things, there is an actual order to why they're listed in the number that they're listed in. So when it says first for the elder and the deacon, the first qualification that's given is blameless, there's sort of like this idea that all the rest kind of hang off of blameless. So, okay, husband of one wife, well, are they blameless? Not given to wine, are they blameless? Greedy for money, are they blameless? So blameless is something that kind of encapsulates them all, and we can link to all the other qualifications. Any questions on that? I know it's a big topic, and I definitely didn't hit all the angles, but if anybody has any questions on that? No? Sweet.